Welcome to Blooming Wildwood Homestead. Today we are going to be setting up our soil blocks in order to plant some of the herbs that I'm getting started this year, as well as a few vegetables for the garden. I've had a lot of questions about what type of soil is being used and kind of how to get started with this, and so I want to share that in today's video as well. When it comes to making the soil block, I like to use the Garden and Bloom organic potting soil. I know a lot of people prefer using seed starter. In the past, I have tried that and just not had great luck with it. The seeds might come up, but they don't really seem to do all that well. And so this is just kind of the method that I've been using for a while, and it seems to work really well. We are going to begin by scooping some of the potting mix into the container. The amount that you scoop in here is really just going to depend on how many soil blocks you want to get set up, and there's not a precise measurement. I just kind of eyeball it. If it looks like it's probably going to be enough, I'll leave it at that. I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle some fertilizer on the top. I've had a home mixture that I've used before. Right now I have some of this Dr. Earth organic fertilizer that I'm using for tomato, vegetable, and herb. And I'm trying to kind of use things up, and I want to go ahead and finish this out. I'm not going to put a ton on here, but I just like to sprinkle a little bit over the top. That way, since this is water soluble, once those plants start to come up, they'll have a little bit of fertilizer that they can feed off of. If you have ever used protein powder or anything like that, this is a great little scoop that I like to use for my fertilizer or just for anything. All right, we're gonna go ahead and blend that together. I just wanna make sure that fertilizer is mixed throughout. You don't want too much in one spot. That's not really good for the little baby plants either. And then we're gonna go ahead and wet this down. That's gonna be the key to making good soil block. You want the right consistency of water. So if the soil's really dry, I like to let the water kind of soak in there. As you can see, sometimes in doing that, you end up with a little bit more than you wanted to. If that's the case, you can just throw a little more dry soil on top, let that soak in, and it'll be the right consistency for you. How do you know if it's the right consistency? If the soil is too dry, it's not going to hold together in the cell. So if you can grab some and it's holding together relatively well, then you know you have the right soil consistency. All right, we're gonna kind of heap that up a little bit. That way when I put the soil blocker into the soil, it's going to fill it up and do what it needs to do. Now that we have that built up, we're gonna go ahead and make our block. We're just gonna kind of tip this to the side a little bit so you can get a nice amount of soil in there. You want to push that down, that way the bottom is going to be packed in there. As you can see, this is nice and full, so we're going to head over to the tray. I've got the tray set up here, and we're just going to go ahead and set that in there. It fits nice and pretty tight with the back and the side, and then you're going to gently press down and release. Sometimes a little bit will get stuck and you'll have a little difference in size, but that won't bother anything too much. That'll be just fine. We're going to scoot that up there nice and tight and release. And there you have it. I'll finish out the rest of this tray with those soil blocks, and then it'll be ready for planting. As you're using the soil blocker, it can sometimes be challenging to get the consistency right, and some days you make it and you're like, yes, this is amazing, and then some days you make it and it's missing something. Don't be discouraged if you need to make some adjustments along the way, but I hope that this could give you a lot of success. Now that we have a full tray, I'm going to go ahead and plant my seeds in here. My main purpose for starting the soil blocks today was to go ahead and get some of my medicinal herbs started, or medicinal flowers, I guess I should say. So these are supposed to take a little bit longer, and they also require some warmth to be able to germinate and get going. With that in mind, I don't need to take up the whole tray for the plants that I was going to get started. That leaves me a few open spaces to put something else. I wanted to go ahead and start some lettuce, but I know that's not the best combination with the plants that I already was going to put in here, for the reason that they're going to germinate faster and be ready to transplant out earlier, and they're not going to require the warmth since they're more of a cool weather crop. I'm not going to have to put the heat mat underneath of them to get them to germinate and come up. So keeping that in mind, I thought about what other items I wanted to get started that might be more similar to the seeds that I already wanted to get started. And with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and start a few more pepper plants. Or a few more pepper seed, I should say. I already started the hot peppers, and those have been transplanted up and they're doing well. But I didn't start some of the peppers that have a little shorter season. So early jalapeno, we've got some California Wonder, and some mini bells. So I'm gonna go ahead and start those along with the medicinal herbs and flowers, just because they also require a longer amount of time to germinate, as well as warmer soil temperatures. So since they're a little more balanced, that'll be a good mixture in my seed starting tray. The easiest way that I have found to kind of keep track of things in the tray is to decide on which direction you're going to plant. If I need a lot of plants of the same item, I might plant lengthwise. If I don't need as many plants, then I will go widthwise, and that way it'll allow you to do more in one tray. So for today's purposes, we are going to go across. I'm going to put a couple of seeds in each cell, and then we'll cover that. So these are new seeds for me. These are calendula seeds, and I noticed that they're a little bit larger, so I'm gonna make a little larger hole to plant them into, a little deeper. Those are calendula zeolites. And that's our beautiful tray of seeds. I'm gonna take these in the house and we'll get it fixed up with a heat mat, and I will put them under the grow light and we'll see where it takes us. Well, here we go. We've got these guys set up underneath the grow light. I will lower this down so that it's right above where the tray is and where the plants are. It's on the heat mat, and then now we're just going to wait and see what happens. So I hope today's video is encouraging to you. If you are planning to start seeds indoors, you really need to be looking at your timing and see if this might be something that you need to get going. Depending on when your last frost date is, that will help you to determine when you need to go ahead and start planting your seeds. If today's video is helpful, don't forget to like, and we would love to have you subscribe and be part of our community here. Until next time, bye everyone.